Hello internet people, I just wanted to make a quick video. It was something that was heavy on my mind and I just wanted to share it with people without bothering anyone. So, I just wanted to say, like, we need to keep in mind, like, this is kind of for me, but like, I thought other people could benefit from it too, but we need to keep in mind that suffering is not always visible from the outside. Just like disabilities, everyone's suffering in one way or another, and just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I find it's always in our best interest to treat those around us with care and, caution, because the chances of them going through something right now and not telling you about it is pretty high. I go through lots of things that I don't tell the people around me, especially strangers. And, it's just, I think it's always better to err on the side of kindness than anything else. And giving people the benefit of the doubt, when we can, when it's not going to endanger us or put our safety at risk, that kind of thing. When we can give people the benefit of the doubt, I think it's good to. And just to have patience and even the conscious reminder that they're going through something in life, even if they're not talking about it, even I don't know them. I think that still is pretty important to think about, that we're all going through something. And my mind kind of went on this because I had been consuming social media content about like disability awareness and stuff, and that's something that I'm becoming pretty passionate about, not only because of my own health issues, developing a chronic illness in 2020 after getting COVID, but also too, my son is disabled, and when you look at him from the outside, you wouldn't guess that he has any kind of disability. In fact, he seems like a well-adjusted, kind, polite, intelligent child. And that's the thing too. So my son is on the autism spectrum. He is level 1, and he was IQ tested in kindergarten at 136. I would love to see where that's at now. Probably a lot higher, to be perfectly honest. But you know, I think uh, I think it's really damaging how there are these stereotypes in society that if you are disabled or have like a mental illness, that you're not able to be like genius level intelligence, or if you are, it doesn't mean as much or something like that. I don't know. I've seen a lot of like hurtful rhetoric online about disabilities, especially autism, and it's just like, it's really disheartening, you know? And I think especially for those, especially because of the fact that people could have disabilities that we can't see, we should, in turn, treat everyone as kind as we possibly can, and give them the benefit of the doubt if they misunderstand us, not take it as malicious and intentional, but just like miscommunication. And, obviously, too, we always have to keep our own mental health and everything like that in mind before anyone else's, really, because we can't help anyone if we're struggling ourselves. So obviously that doesn't mean you remain in places where you're untolerated or purposely misunderstood. Obviously I don't mean that, but like in just quick stranger interactions, if there's a miscommunication, just don't take it so personally, and I don't know. I guess I kind of do and kind of don't want to get into my own little like personal anecdote of experience today. Um, like I said, my son's autistic, and I love how his brain works. He is just phenomenal to me. He blows me away. He literally changes my mind every single day. And I think that's beautiful. But my heart also breaks for him because I see how not everyone sees him that way. And he has a lot of sensory issues that he really can't help. And people don't seem to understand that because it's not the norm. but his hearing is just like, it's so excellent. Like, he, the sound of pencil on paper is just like so loud for him that he can't use pencils at school. Like, we use erasable pens because it doesn't make the same sound, I guess. I don't know. I don't hear it. But like, and we went to a birthday party today, and he had a great time. He loves hanging out with his friends. He has a huge desire to be social, and I think that's why it hurts so much seeing him struggle. It was loud. They were popping balloons and shooting Nerf guns everywhere, and I could see him getting more and more agitated, but he wasn't recognizing it in himself. And it got to a point where he was just like, I guess a few kids at the same time were shooting him, and he felt like he was being ganged up on and it wasn't fair. And he is a huge justice warrior. Like, he knows right from wrong, absolutely, and when he's a third party, you know, and he wants to stand up for whoever he thinks is being wronged, sometimes to the point of where he can become the aggressor. And him having to learn that line of not becoming that which you're trying to protect others from is a lesson right now. But especially too when he feels he's being wronged, he is really quick to stand up for himself, which I'm proud of, but he can go overboard. And it is not necessarily socially acceptable, but he doesn't really understand that. And I know kids also too can just be socially acceptable and not understand it, but as he gets older, his peers are learning more social skills that he's not picking up on as quick, and it's harder for him. And so he was on the verge of an autistic meltdown at this birthday party. And honestly, the best thing I can do for him when he's in that, I can't fix it. He can't fix it. Nothing can be fixed. What he needs is validation. And so he came over to me. He could barely put together a sentence because sometimes during meltdowns he will go into shutdown and be he experiences like mutism. He's unable to create words, and like, he has thoughts in his head and they're going a mile a minute, and it's probably more thoughts than I've ever had in my head at once, but he can't get them out. And it's really frustrating for him, and he feels ashamed and embarrassed, and usually it leads to crying. And now that he's older, there are not as many dangerous behaviors that come with meltdowns or shutdowns, because he has had to learn sometimes the hard way that when we like throw ourselves on the ground, you can hurt yourself. And so he thinks twice now, as best he can in those. He has so much self-control, really, to be able to do that, even, because I know people who are more severely affected by autism cannot control that. They can't pick to double think during those moments or take a step back and calm down. But luckily for my son, he's cultivating this ability, and it's hard, and it takes practice, and it doesn't happen every time, but I saw him on the verge of meltdown. He was yelling at all his friends, and I saw their faces, and they were like surprised, because my son is the sweetest boy in the whole wide world to me. And I know I'm biased, but he is really a kind person and a really good friend, and he loves to help in every way, shape, and form. And so it is jarring, I think, for other people to experience that other side of him, where his mind is making all these connections so frantically that he doesn't know how to handle himself. And my heart breaks for him, because I know that's got to be so frustrating. But we hit near meltdown territory, but we did not hit full meltdown territory, thank goodness. I pulled him off to the side. I got him away from the sounds, and I couldn't really get him away from the light. It was very bright there, everywhere, and he has issues with that as well. It really affects him a lot more than it does me, at least, lights and sounds. So I got him away from the sounds, and I wanted to solve his problem for him. I wanted to. I think every parent wants to solve their kids' problems, but I know from experience that I can't, especially not then and there. all he needs right there is to feel that, is to get it out. So I encourage him to cry if he needs to. His brain is physically stressed, and tears release cortisol, which is a stress hormone from as in the body. It releases cortisol, so crying physiologically de-stresses you. I encourage that. I encourage, if he needs to physically stim, kind of I learned a term, maybe it's like vestibular stimming. I'm probably wrong, but it's like where you want to move the body around a lot, and like compression feels good, and that is definitely him. He likes that. I mean, and or vocal stim. We try to not, I try not to encourage like yelling in public, especially as he gets older. It becomes less and less acceptable socially, and that's I think the hardest part of raising a neurodivergent child, is that you want them to be themselves, but you also don't want them to be socially ostracized, because that's not going to be a good life for them. So you have to like teach them how to mask in settings, and teach them when they can release everything they're feeling. And it's just so hard to teach anyone that, really. I mean, even as an adult, it's hard for me to learn that, but it's just like, I keep thinking about, what are people thinking about us? And we left early. I let him leave early. And when his friends was like, why are you leaving? And he started to escalate towards autistic meltdown again. And I had to kind of like do the goodbye for us, be like, thank you for inviting us to your birthday party. We had a good time. We just need to go now. And I kind of just made it my fault, in front, because they're kids, whatever, like, mom says it's time to go, mom says it's time to go. So that's all there is to it. But I just worry, and I hope that other people can remember that you can't always see how much someone struggles, and to just be patient with them, because that's all I really want, for people to be towards my son. And so, we just have to be more of what we want in the world, what we want to see. And so I need to practice that more, and make sure that I am consciously aware of the fact that, everyone's struggling in some way whenever I'm having conflict with someone, or, just in general. Smile more when I'm out, and give out more of the compliments that I think in my head to people. Just, treat people with more kindness. And I think conscious acts of kindness create an unconscious kindness in us as well. Or maybe the unconscious kindness is what feeds the conscious kindness. Maybe it works both ways and it's cyclical. I don't know. But I do know they're connected in some way, shape, or form. And so yeah, my hope is that my son grows up in a world where people can be patient and kind with him and understanding, even if they don't really understand. I think even an understanding that you'll never understand someone's struggle is good, because we'll never truly fully understand someone's struggle, because we'll never be that. So I think just understanding that their struggle is just as valid as ours, is what will help us all live in a kinder place. And so, yeah, we don't see struggle. Struggle is it's a concept. I mean, it can be physically displayed, I guess, but it's mental, a lot of it, for at least my experience. And so, the more we can go out of our way to be consciously kind, I think, the happier everyone's gonna be. So yeah, sorry for getting emotional and whatnot, but I hope everyone has a good evening, and thank you for trying. Thank you for being one of the kind ones in the world. I appreciate it, and I think everyone in your life does too. So thank you.